Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Tony with RcHelpDotCom, and today we're going to continue on with the little DarkMax from FuriBee. Now in today's video, we're going to dive onto Betaflight. We're going to find out what the settings are. We got to go in there into CLI so that I can get this thing bound to my DX9, check out the settings, and then hopefully a Maiden Flight, but not today because 40-mile-an-hour winds outside. This little guy's just not going to fare well in those winds. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on the computer. Let's see what's inside this thing. Alright guys, so here we are in Betaflight. I do not have a battery connected to the quad. We're going to go ahead, plug it in. I also have no props on the quad. Alright, we got it all set up on COM 7. We're going to go ahead and connect. And the first menu we come up to is obviously Setup menu. And if you guys want to pause, I'll just kind of scroll through here on each of these menus real quick and kind of show you what all is in here. Here's our ports tab. On this one, obviously USB is going to be turned on. Don't ever turn that off. Very bad things happen. And UART1 is turned on for the Spectrum satellite. Here under configuration, like I said, you guys can pause this if you need to. We're just going to run through it. Motor stop is turned on. And of course that thing is going to sit here and beep and beep and beep. Tell you what, let's hook up a battery and see if that doesn't help that beeping out. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So go into power and battery. All right, PID tuning, PID settings 44, 58, and 70 on P, 40, 50, and 45 on the I, and then 30 and 35 on the D. Here's the RC, the super rate, the max velocity, and the RC expo. And again, if you guys want to see this, you can pause the video and take a look. The receiver, we're going to get to this here in just a second. After we bind it up, we are going to have to change it to TAER rather than AETR. On the modes, obviously nothing is set up. We will be going in here. On the motors, again, we'll have to check this out whenever we get the radio bound up. Here's your OSD menu on what you can put on there. Some of these things we can't use, like RSSI value. My radio, it just doesn't, it doesn't support it. But all your timer, fly mode, craft name, stuff like that, we will have that on here. Go ahead and scroll down. You can see some of the other stuff that's in there. And scroll all the way down to the bottom. And yeah, your LED strip. If you know how to program this, more power to you. I'm pretty sure if I sat down and tried to figure it out, I could figure it out. But for right now, I don't have a clue what's going on in this thing. Then of course your black box. I do not have an SD card in here. Probably not going to put an SD card in, but I may play with it. We never know. All right, now we need to go into CLI, and what we need to do is we need to set this thing so that it'll put the receiver into bind mode. All right, so we seem to have run into a little bit of a problem. It's actually the day after the last little scene that you saw, because we had a problem with the receiver. As you know, I had to put a new receiver in, DSM2. I am running the receiver that was on the QX110, which didn't get very far and it browned out. I think it's because the antenna wires were tucked up in there, but I figure this quad can take a crash. At least we're going to find out if this thing decides to brown out again. And if it does, I'll put a bigger receiver on it and a little bit more weight, but not something I'm real worried about. So after making a brand new cable to connect this satellite to the flight controller, now we get to go back into CLI, do the set spectrum bind and all that stuff, and get this thing bound up to the radio. Now like I said just a little bit ago, on the radio I created a brand new model. It's under a quadcopter model, and that's pretty much it. I put a name on it. That's all I've done. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive back onto the computer and see if we can't get this thing set up. Alright guys, so here we are back in the CLI, and if any of you guys know what all this crap is, please let me know. I've never noticed this coming up. Of course it could have, I just don't remember it. Alright, so I'm going to do a get spectrum just to find out what I have things set at right now. And let's see, spectrum sat bind equals 0, and spectrum sat bind auto reset is on. So we need to grab this one. We'll go ahead and paste in our code. We will change that to a 5. Then in the beginning of it, We'll type set and then space. Spectrum sat bind equals 5. And then save. This computer is being wicked slow. That'll restart it. And now's the moment of truth. Let's see if the little light starts flashing. Woohoo! It's actually flashing. I was kind of worried that it wasn't going to. Alright, we'll go ahead and grab our radio. Go into bind. Click on bind.
Binding. DSM2 22 milliseconds 1024 resolution. Bind complete.
Right on, right on. Alright guys, so we had a little bit of a problem, and it took like an hour's worth of video that I screen captured yesterday, and it basically shrunk it down in about 10 minutes and completely corrupted the entire file. I apologize. So we're just going to run through this really quick. I'm going to show you what I changed and what I did. As you can see, I do have the quad on there. It is hooked up. We're going to go through here under setup. As you can see, 3.7 volts. Don't have the battery plugged in. Don't even have the radio in here. It's still out in the studio. Under ports, this is pretty much the same as you've seen, where USB is turned on. Don't ever turn that off. And then serial receiver is turned on so that I can use my receiver. Configuration is where I made the biggest change that we've done so far. All of this is the same except for the receiver right here, and I set the Spectrum satellite receiver, and then under here Spectrum 2048. Whatever you do, don't go to 1024. That it screws everything up. All of this is still turned off. Only 2 of these are turned on. We are going to be playing with this. If you guys want to see an air mode video, let me know, because I'm kind of like an air mode. You know, I got out of quads for a long time, and a lot of this stuff is new. So, and I'll show you something else in CLI that I just now found out about, probably 12 hours ago. So, been out of it for a while. A lot of new stuff has come into Betaflight. All this here is still all enabled. I haven't changed anything. This is exactly how it came. This is the beeper configuration, by the way. I am going to be coming in here and turning off quite a few things. Power and battery, everything is exactly the same. PID tuning, everything is exactly the same. We are going to fly it with these settings that are in here, but I do believe I'm going to go in and I'm going to raise some of these rates so that it'll flip a little bit faster. And then of course on your filters, this is all exactly the same. Receiver, I set everything on the cyclic and the rudder to 11 and 1900. On the throttle, I did go ahead and set it to 1000 and 2000 because of the motors, which are going from, I've got to hit that, 1000 up to 2000. So that's the only reason I did that one different. I probably should go ahead and go in on these and do 1000 and 2000 and change these to, like, I don't know, 1010 and 1990 or something. We'll play with it and see what happens. And of course under modes, I do have the arm mode. This isn't quite lining up because my radio is not on, but the arm is over here. I do have angle mode, which for you guys that don't know, angle mode, complete self-level, can't go past a certain degree. And I have it set here on horizon mode, exact same as angle mode, except you can do flips and stuff at full stick travel, and then it'll self-level whenever you release a stick. And then when both of these are off, when this slider is over here on this side, and I do have this on auxiliary too, by the way, you are in basically acro mode. You can do whatever you want. Now, I thought I set a beeper in here, and I haven't. I need to set this up probably on auxiliary 4, and I'll assign a switch just to the beeper. We already looked at the motors. Everything in here is exactly like it was, which I don't think there's anything to change in that one. Your on-screen display, I have not changed anything in this, but I will be coming in here and playing with some of this stuff, like RSSI value. It doesn't work with my receiver, so LED strip, if you guys know how to program this, fantastic. If not, yeah, you're in the same boat that I am. I'm thinking about taking them off though. I fly by myself, so I don't ever see the LEDs. Black box, have not put an SD card in. I do think I'm going to put a 4 gig in there just to see what the quad's doing. Alright, and then in here, if we do a version, as you can see, we're running Betaflight 320, even though we're on 322, and it was made, what, September 28th, 2017, so it's not that old. It's coming up on 2 months old. So yeah, if you guys want to see the status on all the specs that are on the board, you guys can see it there. But what I found is the diff command. Now, yeah, I'm really liking this diff command. You can also do a diff all, and I think this one shows you all of your all the stuff that's in the board. Usually I just do a dump command, and this is what I copy that people can put back into their quad for a bone stock backup, if you will. If you do click on the link in the description, I do have a stock dump, and I do have a dump file where I had put my receiver in there and I grabbed a dump file from it. So if you guys need either of those two, you guys click on the link in the description, come on over to the forum and check it out. So with that said, that right there is exactly what we went through. Of course, it's going to reset because I went out of CLI, and beep beep beep. That's what I want to get rid of, is all the annoying beeping. So I lost the file. I apologize. I did an entire setup of this, and yeah, what can you do with corrupted files? So let's get back to the video that I shot yesterday. Alright guys, and with that, she's ready for the maiden flight. One thing I've noticed, that board gets really freaking hot when it's just sitting there with a 4S battery plugged into it. I think I'm going to throw the clear gem fans on it because I think I'm going to break them, and I'm not really a fan of these clear gem fan props. So we'll go ahead, open them up. Now we can both take a first look at the gem fan props. Well, I tell you what, you don't want to get your finger on that little nick right there. Definitely don't want to put them on backwards. Boy, them will chew you up. So I'm going to go ahead, throw the clear props on it. We're going to be ready for the maiden flight, which is going to come in the next video. I don't know if you guys can hear outside. The wind is still, for the third day in a row, blowing a gale. I mean, it is just absolutely horrible. Once that wind calms down to something below 10 miles an hour, we're going to go out, we're going to do a maiden flight, we're going to get it on video. Might do a little bit of FPV. I don't really like my dork glasses that I have over there. I am expecting a new pair of goggles coming in. It's just going to be a little while. So we're definitely going to do a line of sight flight with this thing. May or may not do an FPV flight. I may just go ahead and hook it up so that you guys can see it. We'll just have to find out whenever we get to the maiden flight if this freaking wind would ever die down. So guys, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions on this, including if you have one of these and what you think about it, post in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about the little guy. It's tiny, but it takes a huge battery. And again, if you guys want to see it on 6S, I can put a couple 3S packs together. I'll run it on 6S. Hey, need a little excitement in my life. So guys, as always, please give this video a thumbs up. If you'd like to support these videos and get your name in the credits, guys, click on that Patreon link down in the description and become a patron over on Patreon. It would be greatly appreciated. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.